Hey everybody, it's Miss Hope back in the art room. Glad you're here to join me. Today we're going to be working on three-dimensional. So I hope you can go grab some paper and a pencil and a ruler and an eraser. And you might need one of these if you've got it. It's called a blender. If you've got it. If not, maybe a Q-tip or just your finger will do for this. You don't need to have this, but if you've got one, go grab it. We're going to use it. And you're also going to need a Sharpie marker, black one if you've got, or black permanent marker, or a black thin line marker or Crayola marker. Once you see what we're doing, you'll understand if you've got the supplies to go look through what you're going to need. You don't have to just use black. A dark color would be the best for this, but if you've got black, great, and if not, then a dark blue or a dark purple would be okay as well, or a brown. And we're going to meet over here on the overhead. We're going to be talking about three-dimensional. So I've got an example here to show you of one I did of 2021, just the numbers 2021 for the year. And if you can see here, I'm going to zoom a little bit tighter for you so you can see. With the use of shading, which is what we're going to practice today, I was able to create the image of these numbers kind of floating off the page for you. So we're going to do it today with either your name or the number 2021 or really anything that's manageable for you. I'm going to do one with my name on it in just a second to show you. But I want you to kind of get an idea of what we're going to be working with here. So it's really just basic pencil, marker, and ruler. That's all you need for supplies. And like I said, that shader, blender, it could be thick, it could be medium size, it could be thin, whatever you've got. If you've got one, they kind of look like rolled up paper. It's like really tightly rolled up paper. um, these are called shaders, and they're really helpful when you're learning how to draw because they help create shading, and shading is really important for learning value and for creating the illusion of light effects on your drawings. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside. I'm going to go ahead and bring over a piece of paper here. Now, it's going to be a little tricky here. You're going to need to work on that finger dexterity. I'm going to zoom out for a little bit here so you can see the whole page. Okay, so let me move this because I don't need the light. Okay, here we go, whole page. Okay, so you're going to take your black marker and your pencil and hold them at the same time. Their points need to be about even, okay? Just like that. The black marker has to be in the first position and the pencil has to be behind it. So if you need to rubber band around it, you can, or if you feel like you can just, you're going to need to practice this a little bit. And it's okay if you mess up a few times. That's okay. That's how you learn. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how I did 2021. So I'm going to, on the paper here, I'm going to go ahead and just do the number 2, number 0, okay, that's it, right? I'm going to put my marker down now. I don't need that anymore. Okay, you see how it created, by doing it at the same time, it created this shadow with the pencil. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead in and I'm going to start, now I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, so now I'm just going to be connecting these lines. Adding here a little bit. We're going to start shading in just a second. That 2 looks different than that 2, but that's okay. All right, so now I've got my basic shadow lines done. Now I'm just going to have some fun with my pencil. If you've got like professional drawing pencils that you can use that have different levels of lead, like 2B, HB, 4HB, those are fun to play with for things like this because you can do a lot of like really fun shading effects. And I'm just using my pencil to gray in these areas. Don't color too hard. Don't shade too hard. Don't put too much pressure. All right? Don't worry about putting too much pressure. We're going to let the shader do the work for us. or your finger if you're using your finger. And then we're going to come back in with pencil again at the end. This is not an especially colorful project, but you can decorate it afterwards. And again, if you don't have that black marker, or even if you do, and you have other colors too, go ahead and experiment with what the different colors can do. Try 2 colors. Forget the pencil. Don't do the shading part with pencil. Do the shading part with the other color, with the second color. You can do so many variations of this. It's up to your imagination and what you want to try. And while we're talking about that, I think it's a really important thing. And at this point, you guys know me and you know how I feel about, I'm going to create a line right there. You know how I feel about mistakes in art and how I think it's really important to make mistakes sometimes. Don't be afraid. Just try. These art projects that I give you guys are to help you learn at home, to have some fun, to work on throughout the week, to get really good at by practicing. So now I've got my shader ready. Okay, I've put in a basic shadow, a basic gray shadow. And now the shade, what the blender, the shader is going to do is it's going to smooth that all out for me. If you're using your finger, it does the same thing. It's just you may not get as dark of a shadow, but you can just add more pencil mark to it. We're going to come back in here in just a couple minutes with the pencil again. We're just getting that basic just basic gray right now, just smoothing it all out so that it's even, nice and even. And you just keep going right down the line. There's a small child crying in the background, yes. The toddlers are in the room next to the art room, so they're not happy right now. One in particular, he's very mad. He's been mad for like the last 45 minutes, but okay. We're almost done. If you're following along, just pause it if you need to so that you could go ahead and do your shading. Okay, now I'm done with some of that. See, even that's cool enough right there on its own, but we're gonna take it to the next level. Now I'm using a mechanical pencil. You don't have to. You can go back to the pencil that you had before. I'm picky about pencils sometimes. I just like my mechanical pencil. I'm a fan of the mechanical pencil. And what I'm doing is, I know it's kind of hard to see this. Let me see if I can get a little bit more close to you. I'm just adding in some lines, okay? I'm just kind of emphasizing the curves here. Okay. And then once I do that, I can kind of, let me see if I can zoom a little bit even closer. No, I can't. Okay. Technology is wonderful, but it doesn't solve everything. I'm just going to blend a little bit more because I want to get some darkness into those corners of the number. This is really up to you to play around with and layer up the color. The darker you want it, the darker you can make it. Just leave some light for variation and to be able to distinguish the curves of the number like I'm doing right now. Like if you could see, I'm building up this lead shading right here. I just want to like add a little bit more depth. I know it's hard to see a little bit, you guys. Okay, so a little bit closer here, you can see where I've added some more dark pressure from my pencil here and here, here and here, and I just keep using my blender to kind of smooth it all in and blend it. I don't want to over blend it because I don't want everything to be that dark. I bring some of the dark into the light, and then you can use your eraser to clean up any like, sometimes it smudges. Just use your eraser to clean it up a little bit. All right. Okay, for the zero here, what I'm doing is I'm concentrating my pencil in the middle of that arc of the zero right there. I want to call it O, but it's not O. O is a letter, zero is a number. So don't make the mistake that I make sometimes calling it O. It's not. So I'm focusing only on the curves of the zero. And I'm going to start from the dark part of that and just bring it out into the gray from before that I already shaded. I'm just extending that into the lighter gray. Using my eraser to clean it up. Okay, cool. So now you see how it's starting to build up. Like these two letters that I've already worked with are getting to where I want them. You can just keep going back and working with them and fixing them and shading a little bit more, fixing it up. Hold it up, look at it, see if it's what you like. All right, I'm going to pause the video for a second and I'm going to finish up these last two letters here because these are pretty simple to do. So you guys can follow along in just a second here, and I'm going to pause for just a sec. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've worked with my pencil on that too, added some dark lines, right? And now I'm going to shade that in. I'm going to blend it in with my shader. The better quality pencils and lead you have, the easier your shading is going to be too. So if you don't already have, maybe your birthday's coming up soon, ask somebody to invest in a really nice pencil set for you. Because if you really like to draw, and that's your thing, a good pencil set with a variation of pencils is something that you're going to need to have in your library of, it's not really a library, but in your art supply toolbox. Okay, so there we go, we got that. And now the one is our last. Just adding some dark. I want it to look like it's got some depth to it. And we're almost done. There's one more step to making this look more three-dimensional, 3D. And that's when you're going to need your ruler at the end here. I'm going to go back to this pencil for a second. The good thing about these kinds of pencils, these wood pencils, is they do give you a smoother blending. When you're working with a mechanical pencil, because the lead is so sharp and super small, you can't get as much area covered as you can with the wood pencil. So that's why you need a variety of pencils in your life. Okay, we got the 2021. Now you need your ruler, because let me see if I've got, do I have a bigger, no I don't. If you don't have a ruler, you can just use another piece of paper about the same size to use as a straight edge. I'm going to use my ruler here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to start making some lines across the top here. What we're going to be doing is going all the way down, making these lines as even as you can, okay? So if you can eyeball it good, if you need to go down and tick, tick, tick off, like, what is this about? I'm going to turn it over to the centimeters. This is about half of a centimeter. Yeah, it's about half of a centimeter. So using the centimeters, this is the small side. Inches are the large side. The centimeters are the small side. cm is centimeter. So I see here's my 1, and here's my half. You would measure like half of a centimeter for each. I'm not measuring, I'm just kind of eyeballing it, but if you're very particular, you do what you want to do if you want to make it even, even, even. Alright, now I'm gonna pause the video and I'm gonna finish this up so I don't bore you with drawing all these lines all day long here. But that's what you're gonna do, is you're gonna take it all the way down to the bottom of the 2021, like to right about there. Okay, let me pause. I didn't realize it wasn't paused. I'm sorry. Okay, guys, this is the last step. So you've got your lines now behind your 2021. And if you can see, yeah, you can kind of see here. So it kind of gives more of the illusion of this, the numbers kind of popping off the paper. So that's why we add the lines back there behind it to kind of make it look more three-dimensional. I guess you could even try this on lined paper if you wanted to. You could do that. Try it a couple different ways and see what works the best for you and see what you like. So this is the 2021 popping off the paper, illusion, optical illusion. And now we're going to experiment, and to be honest with you, I haven't even tried this yet, but I'm going to do it right now with you guys. I'm going to see what my name turns out like. So my name is Hope. The black has to be the on top color. So O is going to be like a 0. P and then E. I'm doing all capitals here. All right, cool. Not so bad. And what you're going to end up doing is you're going to, whatever your name is, you're going to have to adjust a little bit. Like you see how my line went up here, but I want to make it look more angular. So I'm actually cutting off. I'm going to get rid of some of the extra lines that I created. Actually, this needs to come down a little bit more to match. You're going to have to just play with it and adjust things. Again, because we're not in person, obviously, and I can't show you in person, so I'm just doing the best I can on the video. You're going to go ahead and shade all that in. Okay, so I've got my name here with the shading parts, and it's looking pretty good. So all I did was do the basic shade. I didn't do like the emphasis on the darker parts yet. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna play around and you're gonna experiment with what we just learned about the shading. And remember, darkening like these edges toward the bottom, toward these like angles here, and the curve around the O. Yeah, this is an O. This is not a 0. This is an O from my name. Take a look at some, if you're allowed to, some online shading tutorials. There's some fun stuff out there that you can get into, and there's some really awesome drawing websites. Drago Art is pretty cool. I don't know if they do shading though. I don't use a lot of the drawing websites. I kind of just do my own stuff, but there is some good stuff out there. And you guys are a lot more tech savvy than I am, so you probably know what they are already. I'm going to darken around the inside curve of the P here. And you know what else you can do? You can also experiment with this. You can take your eraser and you can take a little bit out and give it like it's got a shine to it. So you're taking away some color, kind of making it look like it's got a little bit of a light shine on it. With your eraser. And you're just constantly evaluating it and reevaluating it and deciding where things should go. I'm keeping the angle this way, leaning toward the right, because everything else is leaning toward the right. So we're staying true to the angles that we've created. I'm just erasing some of that shade. To give it a little bit of light behind it so it looks like it's shining a little bit. Okay. All right, so this is your very basic how-to on the adding shading to your drawing. And I want you to practice this. I want you to do it a bunch of times. Don't just give up on the first time that it's frustrating. Keep working on it, okay? Leave it alone, come back to it later. Try it again, try different letters. Try different things until you get it where you want it, where it needs to be, where you think it looks good, and then keep practicing after that. And send me whatever you want. Send me your good stuff. Send me the stuff that you're not happy with. Tell me why you're not happy with it. But I want to see it all. If you can, show it to me, and we can work on it a little bit more. We're going to do a few more of these shading lessons. Okay, so all right, get to work, guys, and let's see what you come up with. Have fun doing it. Just keep practicing, practicing, practicing over and over and over. Try different letters, try different shapes, try it different ways. I didn't put the lines in behind, but you guys can go ahead and try that with your names if you're doing your names, or you're just doing your initials because your name is too long maybe. But keep practicing, practicing, and you'll get it. I promise. Just keep practicing. Keep working at it. Okay? All right. See you soon. Thanks for watching.